Buckle up, because Donald Trump has officially glued himself to the word communist like an overcaffeinated toddler with a label maker, hurling wild, false accusations at Democrats and branding them with a red stamp they didn't ask for. So let us strip away the political theater and run through the actual facts to understand what a communist really is before the projection completely breaks the matrix. By definition, a communist is someone who champions communism, a political and economic architecture built entirely around one foundational belief: that a society's major power engines, the prime real estate, the massive factories, and the multi-billion-dollar industries, should be owned collectively by the public or the state instead of being hoarded by a handful of elite private individuals, all with the grand, utopian goal of erasing crushing inequality and forging a completely classless society. In a perfect, theoretical fantasy world, that means wealth and resources are distributed evenly. The sharp, painful chasm between the ultra-rich and the dirt-poor completely vanishes. And every single basic human necessity, from a roof over your head to medical care and guaranteed labor, is fully locked in and secured for everyone. But in the cold, hard reality of human history, the practice gets incredibly messy because different nations calling themselves communist have steered the ship in wildly chaotic directions, often crashing straight into highly centralized, authoritarian governments that grab total, suffocating control over everything, stretching way beyond just the economy and dominating daily human life. That is exactly why this word has mutated into a shape-shifting ghost that means radically different things depending on who is screaming it into a microphone, slipping from a legitimate economic philosophy into a weaponized insult that politicians throw around like stale confetti during election seasons. So if we completely strip away the propaganda and lay it bare, a communist believes society must march toward shared ownership and aggressive economic equality, but how that actually manifests on the ground depends entirely on the rigidness of the system, the ego of the leaders, and the unyielding reality of human nature, which brings us to the ultimate comedic cosmic irony, because when you look at the obsession with absolute top-down control, state-driven loyalty tests, demanding total economic subservience to a centralized authority, and treating the country like a personal fiefdom, this exact definition hilariously describes Donald Trump completely. Donald Trump loves to strut around wrapping himself in the flag and screaming that he is the ultimate, gold-plated, certified real patriot. But let us inject some raw, unfiltered reality into this circus, because a true leader does not systematically rob his own constituents. Which is exactly what he has done, while making it blindingly obvious that he does not care if the working class is eating prime rib or starving in the streets, showing a complete and utter disregard for our actual financial survival. He said it clear as day himself, and by the way, where on earth is all that survival money he promised us while we were drowning, because that cash could have paid our skyrocketing rent and put food on the table for our kids, yet those checks never arrived, leaving him owing every single one of us roughly $7,000, while he personally made absolutely sure that his own family and his ultra-wealthy, sketchy Epstein-adjacent buddies were coddled and taken care of with gold spoons. Let me break down what a real patriot actually is so we can stop falling for the cheap performance. A genuine patriot is someone who fiercely, deeply cares about their country and the literal human beings living inside of it, not just the piece of fabric, not just the marketing slogans. And definitely not the obnoxious, loud chest thumping on a stage. A real patriot is the person who wakes up wanting their nation to be better, fairer, and radically more honest, even when that means having the guts to call out its darkest flaws instead of sweeping them under the rug. They do not blindly salute every single thing a government does like mindless robots. They pay attention, they ask the hard questions, and they push for aggressive, meaningful change when the system is broken, holding a deep respect for the rights of all people. Not just their own echo chamber or privileged group. They actually show up in big, bold ways and small, quiet ways to make their communities stronger, whether that means fighting for the right to vote, lifting up their struggling neighbors, serving the public good, or simply refusing to be an arrogant jerk in a society that is already completely overflowing with them. In short, being a real patriot is never about the loud, theatrical performance. It is about a deep, unyielding sense of responsibility to the collective good. And when you look past the noise and look at who is actually trying to protect the people, that definition completely describes Democrats. Please feel free to follow, subscribe, comment, like, and share. This helps you to stay connected to me, and it helps me to remain here creating more content for you. Thank you, love always, Maria DC Santiago.